When it comes to the energetic aftermath of 2024, I believe, well, for one, this was a year of karma. You know, this year balanced to 8 as far as numerology. So that's why there was so much going on a karmic level this year. And I believe next year is going to be a lot of other stronger shifts. My name is Chris Wasco. I'm a spiritual counselor, energy healer, and psychic medium, and I specialize in old souls and those that have survived narcissistic abuse. My interest in spirituality evolved, I'd say very slowly and yet very quickly at the same time. I was always fascinated by it growing up, but when I embarked on a very powerful healing journey, it opened me up to spirit beyond what I ever could have imagined. Yeah, my abilities as a psychic probably started, it's like when they talk about people who have been doing it their whole lives, I can see that in hindsight. But when I was growing up, I would never have said I was psychic. I would have probably said I was just intuitive, an intuitive empath. And then as far as, evolved, this whole journey of mine evolved into my becoming a healer is because I started working with people like me, people that had had severe childhood trauma, people that had suffered from narcissistic abuse and were kind of coming out of the fog of what that is. And I believe that I was guided on this path, even though it felt like I stumbled on this path in so many different ways. And I really was just trying to heal myself. And in healing myself, it led me on this journey to help heal others. I believe everyone has the ability to be psychic. I know there are a lot of people that would say not everyone has the ability to be a medium. I believe that's changing. I believe more of us are very in touch, especially with our ancestors. A lot of people seem to have deeper connections with their ancestors, with their lineage, and are probably more sensitive to these influences. Uh, as far as myself, mediumship surprised me. If you would have told me I was going to be a medium and I would be able to communicate with people in spirit, I probably would have scoffed at that. I didn't believe that was possible. And one day I just suddenly started seeing people in my mind's eye. And that just evolved into other areas of my life. And I think it's happening more and more to people where they're just opening in this fashion. And I think that's going to continue. And I think it's going to be very exciting because just this awakening process, I think we're still in this mass awakening and it's just going to continue. When it comes to being a psychic, I believe practice makes progress. It's like you would compare it to exercising. Like if you want to get better at something, you exercise it, you practice it. So when you do or utilize psychic skills, psychic exercises over time, you will improve upon them. And I think on the other end of that, if you don't, it probably will just be at where it is already for you. So if for someone it's more dormant, it probably will stay that way, unless they're meant to open up. They're going to be guided. Like myself, I was guided to open up in more ways than I realized. And I probably could have made it a little easier on myself had I not fought that. I think I fought it in a lot of ways. And I laugh at that now, but at the time, it, I think, like I said, I was just trying to heal. So I didn't care about being psychic or seeing people in spirit. I just wanted to feel better and not feel so traumatized. When it comes to religion, I believe religion is man-made, and while I believe it can serve us, and it serves many of us, and I believe what we're drawn to, or even what we're born into, there's a reason for that. It connects us to our life path, it connects us to our life purpose. It has to do with the lessons we're meant to learn in this lifetime. I do believe we're going to vary though on what those lessons are. Some of us are really challenged by religion, others are not, and others just don't care, really. So for me personally, I feel it really comes down to uh, your soul contract and your soul lesson. So wherever religion is meant to fall in line for you is going to mean something, in the short term or long term, usually long term, I feel. But I feel that ultimately we're learning, we're growing, we're evolving, and wherever religion happens to be for that for us is going to be very independent and very very individual and very personal. I think religion and spirituality is a personal journey, and as long as you're good with yourself and you are not hurting anyone else, then great. I believe anybody that wants to raise their vibration, raise their frequency, become closer to spirit, it really has to come down to where your heart is. So if your heart is wounded, you're going to need to work through that. You're going to need to heal those wounds and connect with what it is that has hurt you. We all have trauma, and that's okay. It's part of why we're here. And those experiences are important for our soul growth, but they can also be heavy and they can weigh us down if we let it stay there, stay stagnant. So processing trauma is very important. Uh, Not letting fear guide you. I believe fear is utilized so much to control us. And if we can put our faith over fear, and it doesn't mean you won't be scared, and it doesn't mean you won't have times of having to fight through some fear, but I believe when you do not let fear control or guide you, you are going to raise your frequency because faith is a powerful, powerful thing. And so those are very I don't want to say basic things, but they are basic things because they are foundational in ways. And then as far as just continuing to raise your frequency, I believe connecting yourself to the earth and to nature is very important. I believe feeding your body as nutritiously as you can is very important. Drink clean water, eat clean, healthy foods. Those raise your vibration. Be aware of the kind of products you use. There are products you can use that will lower your vibration. There are clothes you can wear, material you can wear that lower your vibration. So when you start looking into vibrational frequencies of material, you start learning these things. These are all things we can do for ourselves to raise our vibration. And as we incorporate these many different aspects, we are raising our vibration even more just by adding these little things into our daily lives. When it comes to being psychic or being a medium, I do believe there's a difference. At least I was taught there was a difference, and it seems to flow with how I've learned. Being psychic is about, well, there's actually many variances to being psychic. Some would relate that to being able to predict the future. Others would just associate it to being able to read people and read energy. Whereas being a medium, you are serving as a medium between one world and the next. So a medium is somebody who would speak to people on another plane. My psychic ability is definitely more about energy. When it comes to predictions, I don't love to stay too focused on it because I often see paths for people. So if I'm giving somebody a prediction and they change their mind because we are of free will, we have free will, that is our gift, right? They can change their path. So when it comes to my prediction-based psychic senses, I will tell people what I see on the paths provided, but I will also give them that heads up of, okay, if you make certain choices, this might happen. If you make other choices, then this might happen. One thing I will never do, though, is tell somebody what to do. It is not up to me to tell somebody what path they should or should not take. I have many people that ask me, and I say I will never get in the way of free will. Uh, it is not for me to do. That's not my job. And then as far as my healing, that's very much, reading someone's energy, reading someone's body. I can close my eyes and scan someone's body internally and see things that come up. So it really will depend on the kind of session I'm doing based on how my psychic senses will work. There's so much talk right now about New Earth, and I love that. And I think there's a lot shifting. I also believe that we have a lot of misconception on it too. I believe every day we all have the ability to shift our vibration, shift our frequency, and because of that, we are going to experience different levels of Earth. So there are going to be some of us that our vibrations change to be of what we understand as New Earth and more positive, more uplifting, higher vibration, and Old Earth. I also believe there's a variance and there's aspects in between that people will fall into just based on where their vibration is and where their frequency is. And I don't believe it's very easy for someone as a human to fully conceptualize that. And it's kind of what we can understand based on what we're supposed to. And we can only know so much, but I think the main thing is, yes, I believe in the new earth shift. I believe that we are already shifting there, and it's just a matter of keeping with that positive vibrational energy and also try not to beat yourself up if you have a bad day or you have a bad reaction to something. It doesn't mean that you now are at a different earth. You could be, yes, but one bad day is not going to change your entire life unless you really made some really poor decisions, I guess. I probably shouldn't say that, but yeah, I do believe that we're changing on a moment-to-moment basis, frequency-wise. I believe the energy of the future is very dependent on the person experiencing it. So for me, I feel a lot of positive. For a lot of people, I feel a lot of positive because there are so many people making positive changes for themselves, for the earth, for their families. I also believe that there are people that are not going to have very positive experiences because it's just where their vibration is. It's the ability to, I don't want to say constantly stay in the positive because we're human and we have emotions, but the ability to be our best to the best of our ability on a regular basis does a lot for us versus staying negative, always looking at the glass as half empty, always staying in that very pessimistic mindset. It will affect you accordingly. When it comes to the energetic aftermath of 2024, I believe, well, for one, this was a year of karma. This year balanced to 8 as far as numerology. So that's why there was so much going on a karmic level this year. And I believe next year is going to be a lot of other stronger shifts. And you'd really believe it is so important for us to stay in the light as far as our mindset because there's going to be a lot of fear trying to control us. But stay above that. Ignore the fear. It's trying to bring us down for a reason, and it's very important that we stay above that. I believe when it comes to the future, it depends absolutely on the individual. We have the ability to affect our daily lives, affect our future, and it really is up to us to stay in a higher vibration and to help shift our own frequency and to also be able to release that we cannot change other people. That I think is a bigger challenge for people. When it comes to people changing their energy, it does change the world. It changes their life. It changes the people around them. It has this very positive shockwave effect. It starts with you and it expands beyond that. So when you have people that have this very vibrant energy to them, you feel it. You feel it before you even get close to that person. Those are the people that, is why they're called light workers. They have that light to them. And the more we can do that collectively, the better we do for ourselves and for each other as a collective, as a whole. I believe when it comes to looking at the future, there's so many possibilities. There's so many different futures. So no matter where somebody is at, it is where they are supposed to be. It is exactly where they are meant to be. So when it comes to change in general, the only change we can create is within ourselves. And by doing that, we create change around us, positively or negatively. It really depends on how we we go. Might someone have some influence? Absolutely. Uh, yeah, and that's really a matter of if you feel it's your path. Some people are meant to be very influential to others, uh, but ultimately it is up to each individual to decide for themselves, and their future is going to be what it's meant to be based on their choices. And because of how all these different realities happening simultaneously, we're going to end up where we're meant to be based on how we're vibrating, how our thought process is on a regular basis. I believe a lot more energetic events are, I think they're happening. I think they're going to continue to happen. I think it's just going to be ongoing for quite some time. And it's, again, in terms of just how we deal with this on a human level, I believe the people that are more sensitive to energy are going to feel it. We're going to be feeling that, especially a lot of downloads. I mean, I think people are getting downloads on a regular basis now and really feeling it. Even if they don't necessarily know what it was, they're just like, I felt a shift, I felt something. They're having more vivid dreams and having a lot of things happen with their sleep in general. Yes, there are people that are just having their sleep affected for other reasons, but a lot of us that are spiritually sensitive are waking up in the middle of the night and receiving downloads and getting messages and or waking up after a profound dream and connecting to whatever that message was. So I do believe this is going to continue. Uh, I believe it really helps to have fun with it because it's it's meant to be fun. I know that it doesn't always come across that way because some of it can seem a little scary, but really, oftentimes it's scary because it's unknown, and it's common to fear the unknown. But if we're just like, okay, let's go along for the ride and see what comes, I think we're going to really be able to flow with it better instead of just worrying about what's coming. I have been having so many dreams lately. It has been amazing. Amazing. One dream I had that really stood out to me, and my guides were in this dream, and I don't tend to dream about my guides. This was a powerful one. They really wanted to give me the feeling of how we shift through realities based on our feelings and our emotions and our thinking. So what they had me feel, they like fanned out my realities. They're like, these are all your possibilities. And it was like fanned out. And then they were like testing my mood and my emotions. And I felt myself moving through this fan of realities in this dream based on how they were igniting these feelings in me because they wanted me to feel how I was shifting into this accordingly. So the strong message there was be mindful of your thoughts, be mindful of your words, especially, and your behaviors, because it does put you in this fan of reality, and where you want to be is going to be according to how you behave, how you speak, how you think. And it was just amazing though to feel that and it also gave me this impression of why it's not easy for us to feel it as humans. But when they gave me this perspective in the dream state, it was very powerful and pretty incredible as well. I'd been told that a lot of events and a lot of shifts are happening because I was having a lot of deeper sleeps, like deeper dreams. And so I was basically being told a lot of these shifts were affecting just how we were in our dream state, because it was almost like having, one leg in, one leg out, and you're really feeling that. And so they just more gave me the awareness of that, but it wasn't nothing as far as, oh, this specific event is happening at this time. Uh, I haven't received that, and I also haven't asked because I feel like I don't want to say I don't care, but I do believe that in some cases If I'm meant to know, they're going to tell me and I'll find out. And if not, then I won't. And I'm okay with that. The biggest challenge for mankind right now is succumbing to the fear. I believe that as humans, we really get in our own way. We are we are the creators of our reality, right? And I think it's so much easier to focus on the negative than the positive. And I say this being guilty of it myself. I have days where I want to be in high vibration and get mad at myself if I'm not. But then just part of being human as well. Even if you're spiritual, you're gonna have your days where you're just like, why? And it's being okay with that. So can you put yourself in a peaceful mind state even through the times when you're beating yourself up? And I think that's a challenge for all of us, really. There's a lot of fear-based programming happening, and I think many people are aware of it, and many people are not aware of it. But fear-based programming is something that people are becoming more aware of than we were even 5 to 10 years ago, which I think is great. And it's very much about being aware of how you're being programmed, how you're being conditioned, and how your behaviors are reflecting that. So if you are feeling very negative, if you are feeling uh, like you're just not having a good time, not having a good life, there's a very good chance that you have succumbed to fear-based programming. Now, we all have really terrible things that can happen in life, and I don't think it is helpful to anyone to compare of if they've had a better or worse experience life-wise than others, you know, and it's looking at your life, looking at your situation and helping yourself evolve. So if you are not evolving, you are going to feel stuck. So if you're stuck, the one thing you can do for yourself is create movement in your body. And even if it's a little bit each day, getting up, going for a walk, get outside, create a movement to help shift that energy internally. We can change our energy in many ways. I believe that when it comes to healing, a lot of us will have, I'll say issues. I hate the word issues, but I will just say that for all intents and purposes because it's what we understand. If you have health issues, if you have body issues, there is, I do believe healing is possible. I believe it really comes down to one, the lessons we're supposed to learn, but also, what do you believe that healing is possible? And when you do, you change your energy. That belief in itself, I know I have the ability to heal, is step one to healing. Because if you don't, you're probably not going to get very far. You're going to just get as far as you're meant to based on what that is a limiting belief. So that right there, as soon as you say, I am going to heal, or I am healing, or I am meant to heal, whatever in that vibration you can say to take those steps, you literally have done something to your energy, to your aura, to your chakra system. It is so incredibly powerful. And you may not have any idea how you're going to heal or what step to do next, but once you just decide, I am doing this, I am healing, your energy changes, and then things around you happen to support that. When it comes to communicating with your higher self or your guides, I think having faith that they're there is one thing that's important, especially if you're starting with that. Some people, I believe, are more sensitive than others, and I think you're going to be drawn to who you're meant to be drawn to. Myself, for example, I didn't start this journey talking to my guides. I was talking to my guardian angel. That was how I felt very connected. And then I was talking to loved ones in spirit. So I feel like if you're connecting with your guides, great, go with that. If you're connecting with loved ones and ancestors, go with that. If you're connecting with your guardian angel, great. I don't believe everybody feels the confidence in that. I feel that is one of the most common things I receive is people asking me, how many guides they have, what are their names, how do they communicate with them. So I believe that there's this disconnect often people have with their guides, and don't feel we need to overthink that. It's, just know they're there. They are guiding us all the time, and if you really want to connect to them, I do recommend just doing like a meditation. You could look on YouTube and find a guided meditation connecting to my spirit guide. I also wouldn't worry so much about knowing their name because names are very different for them than they are for us, and oftentimes they're not translated well in English. Sometimes they just ask that we name them, or we kind of agree on a name. Okay, you will be calling me this. When I connect with angels, I should actually even say, when I started connecting with my angels, it was more out of desperation of just, please help me, because I felt very lost at that time. And I guess it felt like I was leaning on someone that was meant to help me, I guess, or at least that's just how it felt. When it comes to our angels and our guides, they can only tell us so much. They don't they don't tend to offer these profound messages because they can't get in the way of our decision making because that gets in the way of free will. The only time they can interfere in some way is if they are helping to keep us on our path. Like, for example, when you hear those stories of people that were about to step into a street and then they got yanked back, but there was no one there. Very likely an angel or a guide was there yanking them back because they weren't meant to die. So those are the kind of things they can get involved in. So when I feel I connect with angels, it's about encouragement, it's about love, it's about guidance for the next step, being open. I'm trying to think of what else I've had them say or do. It's usually incredibly subtle. It's an energy more than anything. They're not having a conversation with me. They're very much um, telling me things like stay on the path, don't get distracted, don't let fear don't let fear guide you. Stay above the fear is probably one of the biggest things. And then don't overthink things. We as humans overthink things, and that is a very common thing for guides to tell us stop overthinking. It's not necessary. I think the best way to prepare for the future is to not overthink about it and not overthink the future. When we overthink, we may create something that may or may not happen. And preparing, it's almost in some ways it's good because, let's just say, if you're a prepper, for example, and you keep food and water on hand to have in case of emergency, that's always great. I think that's a good thing to do. Uh, but also have faith you're going to be okay, no matter what, because, you know, we're living a simulation and we're meant to be here until we're not. And it's being at peace with that and connected to that. And I say that, I know it sounds so much easier said than done, but the best way to prepare for the future is to not overthink it and to know that no matter what, you're going to be okay because you're walking the path you're meant to. Make the decisions that you feel connected to. Trust your intuition. Do not be guided by others in that way because if you're asking others, what should I do, you are giving away your power. I believe it is so important to ask yourself, get into your heart space, get centered. What is my next step? What do I do right now? Ask yourself. Because when, again, we start asking others, we start pulling in other opinions, other feelings, it affects our intuition. So I believe it's very important. If you want to feel prepared for the future, you got to be connected to yourself. The message I have for the audience is to stay connected to your heart space because love energy will raise your vibration every single time. So whatever is in your heart space that raises your vibration, it could be something like a pet, a family member, a beautiful memory, a place you love to visit, but if it connects to your heart space, keep that in mind on a regular basis because, again, it raises your vibration. So doing that does a lot for you. So if anyone wants to find me, I can be found on my website at chriswasco.com, and I welcome any questions, conversation to expand on anything further. And I love the opportunity to connect with people. So thank you very much. And I hope that you stay in love and light.